It's like a car and a money for a new car. Okay, it's one contract, it's not two. You can make it into two if you wish, but that would make it haram. So it's one contract. It's really a car and money for that. Just like, for example, gold and money for new gold, which is haram because that would fall into riba. But this is halal because riba does not happen in cars.
Now, if you lend someone some money and they say, "I'll give you a check in 3 days," it's a separate issue, isn't it? Like if you lend them the money, let's say I'll pay you in 5 days' time, but by check, that's okay.
Yeah, if the brother's asking that I'll lend you money and he'll pay me back by check, and and the check is dated for 5 days, that's fine as long as the agreement is that you're lending money.
Yeah.
But when the agreement is that it's not lending money, it's a buying and selling contract, okay, then it becomes haram. So it's very important to have that understood. That's why, for example, when the person that works in the grocery, he went out with the money in order to get change, as we gave in the example in the first session, right? We said it was riba because our intention at that point was buying and selling. However, if we change our intention that making him our agent, it becomes halal, right? So intentions have a lot to do with the contract itself that makes it halal or haram. One from the sisters is buying and selling pig leather haram. The ulama have differences on this point, whether the leather of pig and dogs become pure after it is tanned. And the answer is that the ulama have differences. So majority of the ulama are of the opinion that it does not become pure. It still remains haram, it still remains najis. And some of the ulama, such as the Zahiri ulama of Ibn Hazm rahimahullah and others, are of the opinion that it does become pure, because Rasul said that ayyuma ihabin qad dubigh faqad tahur, whichever ihab, which is meaning the skin, had been tanned, then it has become pure. I tend to prefer the opinion of the vast majority of the ulama that says that it does not become pure, and therefore say it's haram to buy and sell. It's also haram to wear it and pray, for example, and also to wear it in normal circumstances. However, the opinion of Ibn Hazm is also strong. Okay. So my advice is to stay away from that and not to have jackets, etc., made of pig leather. Okay. One from the sisters, it says, which category does livestock come under? I don't know what category you're talking about. Livestock, I think it doesn't come under any of the categories of riba, because it is not a product that is stored, and is not a product that is sold in kilos, and it's not a product that is a food item. Livestock, if you're talking about live animals. If you're talking about meat, then meat of also is something that is not stored. Guys, forget about refrigerators. Think about stored items that can be dried and stored, for example. Okay, dried and stored are like dates, like peas, nuts, and rice and all that. These are the things that can be dried and stored. Raisins, for example. Whereas meat cannot be dried and stored. Yes, the dry meat can be, and so therefore dry meat would be. But how fresh meat, there is no riba in it, inshallah. Okay, so therefore, which category does livestock come under? Would be under food stuff. Talking about the meat. Yeah, the question is as well, donating blood. Is it permissible? Inshallah, we see permissibility of it. We see that inshallah it's permissible to donate blood, because it is to save a human being, and because it's a matter of necessity. So we see it. However, in other cases, we don't really see permissibility of it. So you can't just, for example, when dying, sign a piece of paper on the deathbed saying, okay, my kidney will go to this kidney association, my nose will go there, my eyes will go there, and my tongue will go there. No, you have no right for that. But because blood is of a different, it's also an organ. Blood is an organ. However, it is a different type of organ. It rejuvenates itself, and so therefore we allow it, inshallah, because of the great need of people for it. Okay, one from the sisters that says, what about buying a house? Buying a house in cash through an auction where you don't necessarily know the condition of the house. What about buying a house in cash?
What is it? You have auctions?
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me just read it. What about buying a house in cash through an auction where you don't necessarily know the condition of the house? If you know the condition of the house in general, as it is normally known. Obviously, for example, you can buy a car in an auction as well, but you won't be able to drive it. Okay, I mean, I've bought a car in an auction. All I could do is just go a little bit in the front, a little bit to the back. That's all I could do, just to make sure it moves, right? Apart from that, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't really try it, make sure the steering is nice and comfortable, the engine's not puffing smoke too much, and etc., etc. And I couldn't do all that. So, if this is the way in which the custom has happened, the customs of the people in this sort of business is that business is done in this way, and so therefore, of course, the amount of gharar, amount of uncertainty in this contract is actually more than normal. However, if the business is done in this manner, and of course, buying a house in auction, you have the chance to come in, about, they usually have, viewing times, which is about, 3 to 4 hours before the auction, or might be a different day, and you can come in, have a look, if it's nice or not, and choose it. If you choose not to do it, or you haven't done it, then that's not their fault, and if you buy the house, then you are stuck with it. You're stuck with it. Okay, it's obligatory on you. You cannot say, I'm sorry, I didn't know the house was XYZ. Okay, the brother is asking that the healthcare insurance wherein the institute doesn't have its own healthcare places. However, we will pay a healthcare for you. Isn't that the same principle? The answer is no, it's not the same principle, because they are not providing a service for you. They are paying someone to provide a service for you. Wallahi, it is a very, very different thing. If you look at the contract is that you pay us £100 a month, in return we will pay for your medical costs. Full stop. That's the contract, isn't it? If that's the case, it's not permissible. If that's the case, and the contract is in that manner, it is not permissible. Okay? You can't say, for example, I have health insurance and therefore I go to XYZ hospital, St. George's Hospital, for example, and say, listen, hey, fix me up. And they say, okay, have you got a health insurance card? He said, yeah, this is my health insurance, this is my company. And they take a card number down and then charge the health insurance company later on. No, this is not allowed. This sort of insurance is not allowed.
But the car policies, for example, what they have sometimes is that they might not cover a region where you're broken down. So they'll subcontract another company to come out and fix your car.
Yeah. Okay, the brother is asking regarding companies and subcontracting. That's fine. That's not a problem, as long as they are doing that. As long as you, the end user, are not getting money in return.
But the hospital, you're not getting money.
Yes, you are. You're getting money, and you're paying the hospital through the money.
Does it make a difference if they pay?
If the hospital said we will provide services, I'm sorry guys, listen to me. If the hospital says we will provide you services, full stop. Doesn't matter whether they will provide from their own hospitals, whether they will pay other hospitals, etc. If the contract is a contract of services, then it's halal. If the contract is a contract of money in return, then it's not halal.